What if MatPack from Game Theory had a history channel in an alternative universe? One of his most viewed videos was how did the Empire of Brazil survive to the present day? Or how did Japan defeat the Germans in the Pacific? Wait a second, wait, what? Oh, I forgot I said it's in an alternative universe, so yeah, things didn't necessarily play out the way that things didn't, yeah. Marx was oofed. The French Civil War and the end of the monarchy, yet those people are looking very, like, recent times. I'd actually love to see a MatPack history. I think it'd make it really fun and interesting for people, but that's just a theory. What if the Outback was a sea and not a desert in Australia? I mean, in a way, there would pretty much be no difference. Actually, and wouldn't this maybe even be better? Pretty difficult to just drive across a desert, but I'm thinking like any boat would be able to have a fine time going across here. Maybe even turn this into a little canal if they haven't already. Would these even still be deserts? I feel like they'd be a lot more, maybe like Indonesia, a bit more tropical, a lot of rainforest. That's just a complete guess though, I don't know. If only we can make this into a reality. But this man asking the real question. The forgotten history of LEGO's accidental ultra-nationalistic ad campaign. This looks so real that it took me like 5 minutes to figure out that it's actually not. A dead giveaway would be LEGO doing anything with the Swedish flag. I'm pretty sure a Swede isn't even allowed to set foot inside of a Legoland. You know those Danes be holding a grudge. But this is based off of a real-life vodka ad. It was actually a Swedish vodka ad too, which makes this all even more funnier. Oh, I was trying to figure out why they did this. This was an ad specifically ran in Mexico. Honestly, that's kind of a big brain move. Oh, so in this universe, LEGO is trying to sell a flagship Vasa LEGO set, which was a Swedish warship back when Sweden was big and powerful. It came to represent the Swedish Empire at the time. That is actually hilarious. That makes me want to make advertisements for different countries because I think I know how to get them going, like historically. I'm gonna run an ad in Poland and just say, if you buy my products, this is what your country will look like again. People were talking a lot about this image from an All Endings of Germany video. This was made by Hasavi Productions. Go check them out. Having drank too much during the Yalta conference, the Big Three basically moved the German Reich to the middle of Kazakhstan. So we have the beginning of East Francia, an early form of Germany. We have, of course, the Holy Roman Empire. Then unification in 1871. Germany goes somewhere randomly in 1945 after World War II, and they pop up somewhere in Central Asia. Would this mean that they'd be a part of the USSR? Would it also mean that the Germans would possibly be the last member when the USSR collapses? Fun fact, for the Paris World Fair, one of the proposals before choosing the Eiffel Tower was a giant guillotine. This literally might have been the ultimate troll move in history. Look at this thing. Imagine this had replaced the Eiffel Tower. Now I want them to do it, as long as the blade isn't real. What if the blade falls? What happens then? Dang, I'd just be wishing the Titans from Attack on Titan would invade. We got just the thing to stop them now. Dang, the more I read about this, the more I just get mad that they didn't actually do this. Like, why did you do it? What a weird thing to represent your country by. Like, you'd think that'd be like a no-no. There were other proposals too, though, not just a giant guillotine. One being the Lighthouse of the World, or basically like the Colossus. There's also some ideas at the time to build whatever the heck this thing is. Denmark is not a small nation. Don't come to Legoland tomorrow. Or Legoland will come to you because Denmark now has Ghana, Tasmania, some islands, Danish Tamil. They've got a lot of things in this universe. Oh, and they have kept Greenland. Right, this is a really giant Greenland. How big is Greenland really? If I drag it down around Russia, oh, it is actually still very large though. I mean, it's not as large as the flat map wants you to think, but dang, even not in an alternative universe, even in this universe, Denmark is really big once you add this thing to it. It can stretch from Libya to the Central African Republic. I like to think this is also the same world where like Sweden never lost that warship. Denmark was just being nice to a rival trying to get them to buy their product. Oh, so once again, this was built off of a real life thing. This was a real life propaganda poster saying Portugal is not a small country. Again, referring to the Portuguese ambitions. Look at all this stuff. I mean, yeah, they had a lot of Africa, which is huge, and then a lot of islands as well. And this was after they lost Brazil. Imagine if they still had Brazil. So in this alternate timeline, the Danish colonial empire is far more powerful. They also have Tasmania, Australia. I forgot to mention that. Hydrological mega projects of the USSR. So in this timeline, the Soviet Union have decided to do a bunch of water stuff. The Stalin White Sea Canal up here they made in 1933. The Lenin Canal in the 1950s. There's the third one in 1968 somewhere in modern day Kazakhstan. This actually brought water in and made the Aral Sea pretty giant. Oh, and that other one united the Black Sea to the Caspian Sea. This fourth canal is the world's first use of peaceful nuclear energy. And in the 80s, they made this insane canal which somehow brought, does that go from the Caspian Sea to the Pacific Ocean? Don't tell me that's what they what waters of Siberia to nourish the rich farmland of Central Asia. A lot of Central Asian countries that are losing a lot of land, but maybe they're okay with it because all the new water. Also, this final canal which they built in the 80s made Siberia the breadbasket of Asia or Europe or something. Oh, breadbasket of Siberia. I don't know why I said it with the continent. This is such a fun thought experiment to just throw canals and dams everywhere and just, I don't know, move water around. Forgot to mention that first one back in 1933 connected the Arctic Ocean to the Baltic Sea. I feel like every country has plans to move water around, yet they always never end up doing it because they realize like everything would backfire. It never ends up working out exactly the way you think it's gonna work out. I guess interestingly, even in this timeline, the Soviet Union still collapses. They never recouped all the costs. Ah yes, the Great Migration of Turkish people. It all started in 587 BC when Nebuchadnezzar II from the Babylonians scatters the tribes of Israel. They set sail across the Mediterranean, some going to North Africa, others to Rome, and the third all the way to the Cherokee in Native America. Because of a lack of food, they were forced to migrate even more west and kind of north at the same time with the first Trail of Tears in 100 AD. They go all the way up to Alaska and modern-day Russian Siberia all the way over. Back at home, the Roman Turkish Empire has fallen, but also from here they are forced to continue to travel. They're going west still. They form kind of like an Arctic empire stretching from Siberia all the way to Norway, but some go south and create what looks like to be like a Mongol empire, kind of. And from there, they're almost back to where they started. It only took them like a 1,000-year journey. Most sane Turkish nationalists. It's nice to finally have the origin story here. Travel the Danish Empire, realm of ice sheets and hot deserts. Now, of course, we have Denmark as the center of the universe. But if you wanted to travel to the ice, you can go here in Greenland. Or if you wanted to travel to the hot deserts, you can go to Danish Australia. Is this part of the same timeline? Did they launch an invasion from Tasmania, like a D-Day invasion to take over the entire continent? Oh, I love that they brought over the Nordic flag style. I mean, anything is kind of better than what they have in real life. Like, in a way, it's still kind of like a copyright symbol, except less like a copyright symbol. You still get to add your own colors to the flag template. So this is a Danish imperial map created to boost tourism. Ah, so that Danish word is supposed to mean wetland because it's supposed to be like Greenland. You know, Greenland isn't green, wetland wouldn't be wet. Gotta keep up with the geography pranks. What if Doggerland was the home of the United Nations? So Doggerland used to be a real place in our universe, like, what, 10, 20,000 years ago? I always try to explain this because I feel like a lot of people don't believe it's real. You can actually see the banks of the island in satellite photos here. That's pretty much where it would have been if it was still above water. Why don't we just freeze the planet, freeze the ice caps, and then bring this bad boy back? So this was established as the United Nations after WW2, so the capital cities are Roosevelt, Churchill, Song, and Litvinova. Of course, the official languages will be English, French, Russian, Chinese, Arabic, and Spanish. I'm just curious what kind of topography this would have and what type of land features and things. Oh, there's a giant Attenborough Nature Reserve. Looks very green. Oh, they did ultimately reclaim the land in the North Sea, so I don't know how they did that. It was very pricey though, I'm sure. And even larger, Roman Empire. I don't think it's like so large that it's ridiculous though. I think this definitely could have been possible. They just got all of Germany and then they just get a bit more of the Nordic stuff. I don't know how well the Romans would have done in this kind of cold, but who knows? They stretch all the way over here around the Black Sea. That Parthian Empire looking a little bit thicker than normal too though, but I'm not sure. Kingdom of Kush still exists. This would be the Roman Empire around the 2nd century. Also, they've completely united the British Isles. And they're out here colonizing these islands. Okay, so I think it's safe to say in this universe, they'd probably get to America. I mean, they got to Iceland, they just have to jump to Greenland and then Canada. I don't know how you're gonna build roads from America to Rome. You might have to give up on the whole all roads lead to Rome slogan. If Rome is Batman, the Parthians are the Joker. They're just their ultimate villain. What if Hungary had one of their own special operations like Russia, but in this timeline, it is to liberate Transylvania from Romania. Though in 2014, they did their own like Crimean thing where they just took this land away. And then recently in 2022, in all the red, this is the occupied Transylvanian territory, Hungarian occupied. So they're moving in after Romania, and all the stripe stuff are the battlegrounds and all the fighting that's going on probably in these territories. This is a pretty OP Hungary. Who's helping out Hungary? Also, Hungary needs their equivalent to like a Belarus. Who would be their Belarus? A Moldova, maybe? Oh, wait, no, it had to be Serbia. It's perfect. They must be trying to free the vampires or something. The Franco-British Union, if proposed in 1956. So the Franco-British Union was always kind of a proposal. They thought about it for a little bit there, but this is specifically in 1956. I'm not sure if they were thinking about it back in the Cold War days. Historically, there were times where parts of these lands did kind of come together, but WW2 was when this was actually a pretty big idea. Oh wait, actually maybe it was also in 1956. So this is because of the Suez crisis. Oh wait, I didn't even hear about this. The population would have been 106 million, empire not included. I'm not exactly sure how they got Belgium, but Belgium's just on board for some reason. And then yeah, keep in mind the British started losing some of their African colonies. I'm assuming Canada, India, Australia, all of them are free now, or they just maybe weren't going to join the Franco-British Union. But of course, the French controlled parts of Africa would join, as well as Nigeria. The British controlled that, and then the British controlled all this. France controlled Madagascar. I could also maybe see them doing this to stand up to like the two other powers, the USA and the Soviet Union, like the third superpower. Yeah, why Belgium? Belgium and Luxembourg chose to join the Union for security reasons. In the agreement, the Congo, Rwanda, and Burundi were given home rule. That's the question I ask myself every time I see a modern map. What if Ireland flipped upside down for some reason? So instead of Northern Ireland, this is the Republic of Ireland, and we have actually Southern Ireland. United Kingdom of Great Britain and Southern Ireland. There you go. That does make me think why they got this part and not this part. I probably should know that. I do not know that. Very cursed map here. Very brave. The Korean War, but it happens in Japan. And, I think Japan is Mormon? I think Japan is Mormon. There's like a Mormon American controlled part of Japan, and then something China? I am very confused, but the back and forth continues to happen. Whoa, one side just completely breaks down by 2022. One side is being supported by a federalist China and the other a Mormon America. I gotta give credit. This is the most imaginative thing. I've never once thought of something like this in my life. Look at all the new flags though. I like that. Hirohito's still there. This is every week. So first America pushes nationalist China pretty far back, and then they start to go into it. They start to push the US out, and then they're gonna settle on, what is this, the parallel? What number would they, so it was 38th parallel, but the equivalent of that. So in this timeline, for like 4 or 5 decades, Japan is now going to be completely separated by the North and the South, but it looks like by the end, one side does end up completely collapsing. Oh no, not another Sengoku period. Just a bunch of warlords take over in 2022 Japan. This is so unique, I like it. Really high quality video. And big thanks to the patrons. My name is Joe Biden. I love being Joe Biden. Diary of a Wimpy Kid, the Catfish. tRuE's Argentinian Grandpa.
Fatnuts.
A Fat Normal.
Barnsky W.
Bring Back Poland Ball.
LuxembourgLover.
Cowboys 83.
Jakov Bruney.
Marco Hindera.
Max Cooper.
Ortin
Philipp
5610.
RF. Robert E.
RyeThePie.
The Mexican 760.
Why am I doing this?
William the Conqueror.
And Subar N.